So CNN talked to a few Guatemalans that were shipped back home, thanks to Donald Trump. And some of the things that they say are very interesting. I think y'all need to check it out. Let's hit it.
From Guatemala are now back in their home country. They were on board a U.S. military plane that landed in Guatemala City just yesterday. One of the migrants now tells CNN that he had been living in the United States for nearly 19 years. CNN's David Culver has exclusive new reporting from the tarmac when they arrived.
19 years. Again, you've been here, you've been anywhere, somewhere 19 years, and you could not get your paperwork done. That means what? That means you were truly here illegal. That means you truly crossed the river or jumped or dug yourself under a fence and somehow been living here working for 19 years. I don't know how the government runs. One minute you think you know how it goes, and the next thing it's like, how is somebody able to get a job and pay taxes, if that, for 19 years and nobody notices? I'm confused. And this woman here looks like she's sleeping, like she ain't slept in days. All right.
Stepping off a commercial charter and onto Guatemala City's military tarmac, 124 migrants deported for illegally entering the U.S., now back home. They process past officials, including the country's vice president, and into a reception hall. Cookies and coffee await. One by one, they're called up to be officially
Look at it.
documented.
See that shirt say mobile auto detailing. So he was working at the auto detail shop. So he came in and got him a job, huh?
Now that's a change from their status in the U.S.
10 años en los Estados Unidos.
Yeah.
She lived 10 years in the U.S. in Alabama. She did roofing, construction, and car repair while in the U.S.
Oh. Y'all see this woman here? Fellas. This is one of the, a lot of times I say, man, the men in our community, or just men, period, sometimes just embarrass me. Because there's no way in hell that anyone gonna tell me that they can't find work. This woman did what? We're gonna rewind just a little bit.
10 años en los Estados Unidos.
Yeah.
She lived 10 years in the U.S. in Alabama.
Now, how she got here, I don't know.
She did roofing, construction, and car repair while in the U.S.
Car repair. Roofing, construction, and car repair while she was in the U.S. But yet most U.S. citizens can't even read read at their grade level. And I'm talking about kids. Most adults can't read past the third or fourth grade. But this woman came in working 10 years, construction. Now I understand. I know y'all gonna say, man, well, you know, them construction jobs, the owners, the foreman, they only take these guys, these migrants, because they don't, you know what I'm saying, they won't pay them much. Let me tell y'all something. I understand that. And that's something that that has to be corrected. It has to be corrected. It has to be done right. It has to right or wrong. But then you have to think, you have to pick a struggle, okay? You either complain about how much you get paid, or you go out there, look at the future, think that, hey, I'm about to learn a trade, learn how to do something, you know what I'm saying? Learn how to do construction, learn how to build houses, learn how to, roofing, learn how to fix on cars, and use that little money, go back home and live with your mama, or go back and live with your baby mama or your wife, or get roommates or whatever. Get that little money, do like they do, because sometimes that's just how you got to do. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we too busy watching people on internet talking about how they can show you how to make six figures in a month. You know what I'm saying? Just because I do it, you know what I'm saying? I'm a multi-millionaire. All that kind of bull crap they lying about, but they selling you a product, which is how they make their money. But yet you can just take your little money, group economics, learn a trade, and then go out and do it on your own and start your own business. that's how you got to look at it when you starting from the bottom. Everybody want to start from the middle. You know what I'm saying? Middle. Everybody will start with middle management, but nobody wants to sweep the mail room floor. Nobody want to go and work in the mail room or clean toilets. They want to start up high and then wonder why they can't never get nowhere. And they want to holler discrimination. But the thing about it is, if you start in the middle, you don't know. If you don't know the ground floor, I had these problems with nurses that I've worked with or nurses that have worked for me where they never worked in the hospital. They come straight out of school, and first thing you hear them talking about is, "I can't wait till I can sit behind a desk. Doing this here is beneath me." All this kind of crap, and I'm sitting here like, dude, you can't say that around me. One, especially if I'm in management, I don't want to hear that. Two, I started out being a patient care tech at a hospital. Hell, even working in a nursing home even working in nursing homes, helping CNAs, clean people, even a nurse, in the hospital, cleaning people, feeding people, stuff like that. That's where I started at. And so now as a nurse, I'm humble and I still get in it, get down and dirty. But when people start in the middle and think they're supposed to make a certain amount of money and do a certain job, I ain't nothing I can do for you. Cause I already know that when it comes down to the grind, because it's gonna be a time where we're gonna need you to do something that's beneath you. And if you can't do it, I can't depend on you because it ain't gonna never be perfect. It ain't gonna never be perfect. But this lady said she did construction, did roofing, and worked on cars in the 10 years she was here, trying to make a living. And y'all talking about y'all can't even work at McDonald's. And I told y'all, go to McDonald's, become a manager. $14 an hour down here in Texas, $14 an hour. May not be a lot of money, but again, move back home with somebody, move in, get a roommate, sharing the load, sharing in the bills, work at McDonald's, become a manager, move up, become a store manager, be a shift manager, and maybe you can move up and be a store manager in a few years. And next thing you know, a few years after that, you can be managing a few McDonald's, and then you only own McDonald's, and then the sky's the limit. But people don't think like that.
Here we meet Sara Totpotos. At 43, she says she carries a criminal record related to child endangerment.
Nieto, no? With her grandson. And she said he didn't have a car seat, and she was pulled over as she was leaving the Walmart by a police officer in Alabama.
She went to jail for 2 months and was detained for 5 more months, she says, by immigration officials in Louisiana before being sent back here. She's actually grateful, thanking God for being back.
Because it's probably like a big load off of her because she's been hiding for 10 years, afraid to be sent back home. And once she finally got caught, she's like, you know what? Forget it. I'm tired of taking care of these grandbabies. My damn child, too, I'm saying? Don't do nothing around the house. I'm doing everything. I'm working construction and roofing and car repair. While my kids out there in these streets making all these damn babies. And I gotta take the grandbabies to Walmart. Ain't got a car seat. Mama ain't surprised, ain't helped me with a car seat. I'm glad, you know what I'm saying? But I bet you that policeman probably watched her pull up in the Walmart and probably did a surveillance on the car while she was in Walmart. And then once she came out of Walmart, was watching her and then just pull her over. So, I mean, they do that crap, man. They do that. They watching. They do that.
¿Tú quieres regresar a los Estados Unidos? Do you want to go back to the U.S.?
No, ya no,
No.
ya no.
Sara, seemingly uncomfortable though, speaking with us in what she's wearing. She's eager to get to her bag, which sits in a pile of plastic sacks and stapled shut. And as she heads into the bathroom to change, we meet Fidel Ambrosio.
So how many years altogether did you live in the U.S.?
Almost 19 years.
19 years.
Yes, I'm scared. But I was now with Trump. They say they have to go, go for the criminal. But we're not a criminal.
19 freaking years. Y'all remember Wycliffe John from the Fugees? I remember watching a video with him, and he said how when he came to this country, he didn't speak English, and he learned how to speak English by watching Sesame Street or going to the library. And I remember I used to go to the library a lot, and I would see a whole bunch of Hispanic, Latin people in the library, and they bring their kids with them so they can learn English. I say that because this dude still got a deep accent, look like he's barely know the language, and that's my issue when you're trying to become successful and trying to make a way. To me, you do everything you can to fit in and to become more. So for him to be still barely can speak English, it just throws me off. And you've been here 19 years. Makes me think
But
you
you
probably been in and out of the country for 19 years.
have a trespassing conviction.
Yes.
Are you going to try to stay here? Or do you think you'll go back?
I have to go back.
You'll find a way back.
Yes.
While Fidel walks freely here, others are pulled aside by Guatemalan police as
He
soon
said
as
he
they
got to
arrive.
go back, probably because he got a whole family here that depend on him to make some money. He said he got to go back. And as much as
Accused of
I'll
crimes
say it. I'll say what I got to say later.
not only in the US, but also here in their homeland. They require a lot of resources so as to reintegrate the returnees.
Pues de momento no hay una diferencia.
Guatemala's vice president tells me it's about the same number, though, that have been arriving in recent years under President Biden. Though she says the use of U.S. military planes, which Guatemala is permitting, is new under President Trump. Back in the reception hall, we almost don't recognize Sara. She's changed into her indigenous wardrobe and feels more at home, now ready to step out
No, ya tiene mi hija que ven.
and reunite with her daughter. Obviously, there's a lot of emotion in that moment between Sara and her daughter, and I asked both of them if they have any interest for Sara to go back to the U.S. or for her daughter to go for the first time, and they were adamant. They do not want to go, and it seems that in many ways tends to echo what the Trump administration is hoping to put out there in their messaging from these deportations in part, and that is a deterrence factor to keep people from wanting to
Like
go
I said, she don't want to go back because she don't want to be a babysitter
to the U.S. in the first place. However, then you meet others like Fidel, who said it doesn't stop him. He's going to try as many times as possible to get back to the U.S., be it legal or illegal. David Culver, CNN, Guatemala City.
All right, we have brand new video just into CNN. It was released by Homeland Security Secretary, the new Secretary, Kristi Noem, and it shows her presence at an immigration raid in New York City overnight. In her words, a criminal alien charged with kidnapping, assault, and burglary is now in custody. Again, she put out this video. With us now is former acting director of ICE, John Sandwig. Thank you so much for being with us. This video released by the secretary, the orders that we reported yesterday that people involved in these raids have been told to wear your jersey so people can see. We want this to be very much visible. Why such a public display, John?
You know, it's very interesting. I mean, first of all, obviously the reason why is I think the administration wants to draw a lot of attention to these raids and these operations. But what's interesting, John, is traditionally you don't want to draw attention to these operations until the operation is complete. And there are two very good reasons for that. The first is officer safety, especially when you're targeting individuals who who should have a nexus to public safety. You don't want to do anything to tip them where they might be lying in wait for an officer, especially if somebody's doing harm. So one of the real cardinal rules of these types of operations is you don't do the publicity until it's complete. But the second reason is it reduces the effectiveness of the operation. As word gets out that you're targeting individuals with a nexus to the criminal justice system, those individuals tend to disappear. So during the Obama administration, when we ran these similar operations, what happens is over time, you start missing more and more of your targets because those individuals are no longer in the location that you expect them because they caught wind of the operation. So surprising in a way from an operational perspective that they're putting this much publicity on these operations, but politically, I think it makes a little bit of sense why they want to do that.
So I think in the last year of the Biden administration, there were an average of about 300 apprehensions each day. It was a slow start in this new Trump administration, but they're now at about 1,000 a day, and that's their target. Besides the difference in the numbers, John, what do you see as the biggest differences in approach between the two administrations so far?
Well, the biggest difference is clearly the targeting. This administration has lowered the threshold for when, prior to one of these operations, a lot of work goes in, John, behind the scenes. The agency is running records from the criminal justice system, probation and parole records, cross referencing that against immigration databases to try to identify the targets. This is a tactic that was done throughout ICE's history, the Obama administration and the Biden administration included. But what happens is when you're doing that, you set a threshold. What type of crime is a serious crime that we're going to prioritize? Are we going to arrest what we call collaterals, individuals that we encounter when we're going after the criminal who may not have any nexus to the criminal justice system? So the Trump administration has lowered the threshold, including individuals charged with less serious offenses like traffic offenses or people who have not been convicted. Secondly, they've been very clear that when they go to a house, if they find anybody who's undocumented there, everyone will be arrested, regardless of whether or not they have any nexus to the criminal justice system.
Well, talk to me more about what you just called collaterals, because Tom Homan said, quote, I don't think we arrested any families. We've arrested public safety threats and national security threats, bottom line.
Yeah, I mean, oftentimes when you're doing these operations, you knock on a door, and you're looking for a certain individual. You may or may not find that individual there, but you often find that someone's living with other undocumented people. So group homes are very common, where you have multiple families living in the same house, or you might find that person's family unit there. Traditionally, during the Obama administration, we would direct ICE that unless the individual you encounter has a nexus to public safety, you don't take them into custody. This administration has been clear they are arresting collaterals. John, look, in the coming weeks, we're going to see the data related to who was arrested in these raids. And it'll be very interesting to see what types of crimes the people were arrested for and how many individuals were arrested without a nexus to any criminal history at all. Just knowing how ICE operations work, knowing the limited number of high value targets that there are, I'm very confident that we'll see a lot of individuals who were arrested after having been charged with or maybe convicted of what would commonly be considered lower level offenses. And a lot of these collaterals were arrested, individuals with no nexus to the criminal justice system at all.
And you think we'll see that data?
Yeah, I think, look, historically, ICE does release that data, including during the Trump administration. And John, again, it's just very illustrative. If you look at the Trump administration data, in 2019, prior to COVID, they arrested something like 63,000 individuals who were just charged with or convicted of traffic offenses. And the bottom line, John, is, again, there's just not that many of these good targets out there. But really, that raises another question, which is what's next? And you heard Tom Homan say, this is going to continue. We want to continue at this tempo through the full year. And I'm going to be very interested to seeing what type of targeting, who they start prioritizing after they exhaust this criminal population. This part of it is the low-hanging fruit of the system in a sense, because you can just run these records and get good leads of individuals who've been charged with or convicted of a crime. But that's the natural place you start. The question becomes, what do you do next? And I saw Tom Homan say that we maybe are going to focus on fugitives. But you have to remember, the fugitive in the immigration context is different than the criminal. This is not someone who's been charged with a crime, but someone who's been ordered to leave the United States by an immigration judge and didn't leave. Typically not a criminal population.
So that's interesting. I'm gonna go back to the lady who had like the 3 jobs and said she didn't want to come back because, one, she probably got tired of the legal system, and 2, she got tired of being a babysitter. To be the devil's advocate, I could understand, I could be empathetic with the migrants, the ones that come over here looking for a better life and will do anything they can to make money. I used to work with a guy who told me that he went to Mexico to visit family one summer, and one week he had a job making boxes, and he worked like every day for a week. And when he got paid like $7 to make boxes. So he come over here and get a warehouse job, and he's like, that's good money. And so you got to remember exactly where these folks are coming from. Now, as an American citizens, are we against illegal migrants because they came across the border illegally? Or are we against them because a lot of them are doing what we should be doing as a people? And what I mean is, doing everything necessary that we have to do, especially as men, to do everything necessary that we have to do to make money, to earn, to make a decent living, because we know somewhere else it's greater somewhere else. I've spoken that I've worked in a warehouse, and as a kid, well, 18, 19 years old, $8, $10 is a lot of money back then in the mid late 90s. But as time went on, prices go up, inflation goes up, insurance goes up. And your raises are like 3%, 2% every year. It's like, this is no money. Then you at a place for 10 years, and in 10 years, went from $10 to 13. I think I'm making 13.30. And I'm like, I got to get out of this. I got to do something better. So that's when I started going back to school and say, hey, I know it's going to be a long process, because I've been out of college for like 10 years. And so I just took my time, went to one class here, one class there, messed around, got a divorce, had to start over using credit cards, using retirement, 401k, all this kind of stuff. I told y'all, giving plasma, doing everything I felt that I need to do, getting a temp job, whatever jobs I could get that'll work around the school schedule to try to take care of myself, to help take care of my two daughters, being in their lives every day, doing what I felt I need to do in order to make a better way for me and my kids. Riding around with a car with no registration, no tags, with fake paper tags, buying, inspection stickers, knowing damn well it was, I guess, not fake, but it wasn't for that car. This, what I'm saying, doing things that, buying food stamps, doing stuff, what I'm saying, to make it now, but moving forward, steadily moving forward to try to trying to get somewhere. Got a plan to get somewhere. So that's what we're supposed to do as human beings. That's what a lot of these illegal migrants did. And driving, getting tickets, not, what I'm saying, getting warrants, whatever the case, going to pay, breaking the law. You're breaking the law, but trying to, breaking the law, but trying to do right. But the only way you can get to that point to do right is you got to take chances to get there. And you just pray that you don't get caught, or you pray if you do get caught, you can figure out a way to get through it. But eventually you got a plan and you stick to it, and hopefully it works out. They've done the same thing. Some of them, not all of them, but a lot of them doing the same thing. They said, hey, I need to get across this border, make some good money, send the money back home. Whatever they're doing, I can't be mad at that. The issue is that, there is a plan in place for foreigners to come over here. Now, we know that a lot of times the ones that they allow to come over here, they got to follow a system. They got to follow to get along the get along gang. And those in our community know what that we know what that means. But they got to follow protocol, act a certain type of way towards us, and certain type of way towards them folk in order to come over here. And I'm talking about folks that come from like the African continent. But like I said, there is a plan. There is a way. There's a way to get in, and you have to follow that. Unfortunately, you know what I'm saying. I hate that people have to live a certain way and not be able to take care of their families the way that they, especially when you got countries where cartels and kings and dictators got all the money, and everybody else is piss poor, ain't got no money. The only way you can make money is working for these people. But then if you get out of source with them folks, your head may end up on top of a bridge somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Your body hung, under a bridge in the ditch, or or like in cement water. You know what I'm saying? Or they call it like water barrels, like barrels with full of cement. Things like that you have to worry about if you go against them. But I get it. I understand. Everybody wants to do something to make it. And thing about it is, the United States is where they can make it. Now, these whole anchor baby, hey, people try to get over, and that's just what it is. Everybody trying to want the best. Everybody want the best, but not everybody's going to do what they need to do. A lot of people don't want to take chances. So I can't sit here and knock someone from Guatemala or Mexico or Venezuela or Haiti or any African country. I can't knock them trying to come over here and actually, if they're trying to do right, I can't knock that. Or hell, even if they come over here and just, I don't know. I can't be too upset with them, but then in the same breath, say free Ray Ray after he did a 10-year bid because he got caught with like 4 keys in his trunk. I can't, I mean, that's hypocritical. Guy who, selling, selling drugs and dope to the community, or somebody free so and so because they doing a 8-year bid after, taking out one of our own brothers because they had the wrong color on, or part of a different set, or doing, rapping about their ops rapping about them, and so then they took him out, and so this dude doing 15. That to me, that's hypocritical, because if it's one thing that I get from Jesse Lee Peterson, and I know he's a one person that a lot of us ain't really trying to listen to, but the one thing he said that I agree with is that when you get down to the basics, it's not about racism, it's not about bigotry, it's about good and evil. Once you realize that's the spiritual battle, that it's about good, it's good versus evil, nothing else matters. You can understand it better. You can say, hey, that person is evil. Because you can do something to actually break a law, but there's nothing really morally wrong with what you're trying to do. Sometimes laws are just put into place to try to put like a cap on something, making sure somebody doesn't go get outrageous with it. Like if somebody has a company and then they just taking over all these companies and they say, okay, we got these laws against not capitalism, what you call it, when you just control everything. And so monopolizing, they got laws against, rules and regulations against monopolizing. And you might have done everything the right way to take over businesses, and you got the money, they can't stay in business. Hey, you buy them out, or you buy somebody's land, this and the third. But then what I'm saying, hey, you doing everything right, they just can't keep up with you. And then the government say, SEC say, hey, no, we got to stop that. No, y'all two can't merge, because now you're trying to monopolize, and it's not giving other people a chance. You putting people out of money, and you're gonna mess the economy up like that. So sometimes, like I say, laws ain't just here because you up there trying to do something illegal or something immoral. You just, what I'm saying, you just do what you know what you're supposed to do, and you just benefit from it more than everybody else. But when you got those who are criminals, those who are like sinful criminals, evil people, who have deleted folks, taking people out, who have assaulted folks, who are robbing people, and ain't trying to do something. Those are the people that for sure need to be up out of here. That for sure need to be gone immediately. Everybody else, I think you should deal with them on a case by case basis. So for this lady here who got deported, who says she worked, ain't had no problem with the law except by taking her grandbaby to Walmart to buy food. And because she didn't have a car seat, and you could say, well, she should have got a car seat. Yeah, I know. But maybe she was trying to raise some money for a car seat. Or like I say, maybe her daughter or her son, whoever the baby was for, ain't doing what they supposed to be doing. And so there is no car seat. Grandma ain't supposed to have no car seat. Mama's supposed to have a car seat. Mama bring the baby over and leave, and you be like, where the car seat at? Oh, mama left it in the car. Well, can you bring it back? No, I got something to do. And she out there clubbing and bull crapping. So now, but then baby got to eat tomorrow. So what is grandma supposed to do? And then she get pulled over by the police. She get detained, got fines, court fees, and stuff like that. And mama and the baby's mama or the daddy ain't nowhere to be found when it's time to go to court and pay these fines. So mama like, hell, I go back to Guatemala. I'm not dealing with this. You deal with this. Whenever you want to come back home, you come back home, whatever. But I'm done. I'm done with this. But anyway, those are just different ways you can look at this thing. But I still blame Joe Biden for opening the floodgates and allowing so many people in, and you don't have a job for them, you have nowhere to live, and your own people at home are living in squalor, and you got no programs, nothing for them. That's what I got a problem with. But anyway, tell me what you think about this story. Leave your comments below, share it with the world. Let's have an intelligent conversation. You know how we do around here. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Those 4 things cost you nothing but maybe a couple of minutes out your day, but it means the world to us here. And when you do subscribe, man, hit the notification bell so you get notifications about it every time I drop a video. If you like support financially, you can give super thanks, super chat, super stickers, and you can look in the description box. There are a couple of links there you can click on to help support our channel. Like I said, we appreciate everything: watching, liking, thumbs up, and commenting, all that kind of stuff. Financial, whatever you want to do, man. I just appreciate you watching us right now. Also, you can hit that shop button, and we got some merch there that I know that you would love. We got perfumes, colognes, got beard products, we got silk products, man. Check it out. And hey, don't forget to hit that marlonmorale.com website. We got a lot more products there. And with that being said, I leave you in peace, and I'll see you on the other side.